You almost had it this time, Derek. You almost had it. Almost.
I waited.
City Talk Fall River is live right now. It's 1 o'clock, or at least 1:02. We're a little bit behind. Nikki is a little bit behind. I think I just dropped her off about a half hour ago after we engaged in a cleanup of the Cook Pond area. It was really, really nice. Nikki was there, and the rest of the Angels Anonymous group was there. Derek, where were you?
I was actually helping family out in the morning.
No excuses.
Sorry.
Do you care about your community?
I love my community.
All right, I'm just making sure.
What about, where's my Fall River?
Oh, what happened to my Fall River?
What happened to my Fall River?
Yeah, what happened to my Fall River?
Whatever.
So now we've gone through, 2 of the deliberations on the budget?
Yeah.
I think there's going to be a third one on Tuesday.
And if it's going to be anything like what we saw this week, oh boy, we need to strap in for this.
Did you happen to listen to any of them? You can't be critical if you didn't listen to them.
I did. I mean, there were. I mean, I will admit there were some decent questions brought up though. But there
was too.
But then there was a lot of there was some shenanigans that were brought up as well. And
you want to be more specific, sir?
Can you please turn down your phone? It's distracting me. And
so this situation between Counselor Joe Camara and Counselor Rich Cabeceras, is that what you're speaking about?
I'm sorry, but this is just getting way out of hand right now. I mean, this has been happening since January, and it's not funny anymore. It was great to joke around in the beginning.
Oh, we have a visitor walking in.
We got a visitor.
Oh, look how pretty she looks.
Oh, wow.
In her dress and whatnot.
Check you out. I'm gonna give up my seat.
So Nikki just walked in. She's way overdressed for this podcast. I just want everyone to know that now. But she can explain why she's all dressed up, I guess. Why are you all dressed up? Explain yourself. Explain yourself.
Heels on and everything, which is not an everyday occurrence.
She's got a dress on, heels, her hair's all done. We're just doing a podcast here for a few hours here.
Because I have a birthday party today. My brother is throwing me a belated birthday party.
Brent?
No, Colin. So it's like he's my kid, he's my son, so he's looking at it as a son kind of thing. So I'm like, it's so sweet.
That's really awesome.
But he just called me, and where I thought the party started at 4 because that was what was on the invitation, it actually started at 1. So like,
it's 1:04 right now.
Oops. So
1:05 actually, as I speak.
I'm like, I have to do this. So I'm like, I'll leave at 2.
Okay. Well, we just went right into it. We jumped right into the whole budget deliberation process.
Awesome.
So Derek was in the middle of explaining that he didn't appreciate Rich Cabeceras and Joe Camara going at it. No, I'm going to give you my personal opinion on it real quick before you go into more of it. My personal opinion is these two definitely are going at each other. They're not beating around the bush anymore. Who is really ultimately going to be the one that has to step in, intervene, and be responsible for it?
It's the job of the city council president.
There you go. All right, keep going.
No, I mean
it's not the police.
Well, we can't take one of the policemen from the sweet old ladies. You know, you can't do that. But all right, you know, it was funny in the beginning. It was funny a little while ago. You know, going into March, April. May, we should be over this by now. This is just getting petty. And I don't know who looks worse. Is it Rich that just keeps pointing it out, or is it Joe that kind of feeds into it? So, you know, I would hope that at least Joe would be the guy that kind of just like says, all right, I'll step back. The ultimate goal is to have Council President Kadim be the guy that steps in and says, all right, cut it out, even though he already sent out his memo saying we need to conduct ourselves properly. It's just not happening. This is bad. It makes everything look really bad. It just gotta stop.
If we were going to break down any of the film at all, which we're not, because it's a waste of everyone's time, to be quite honest with you.
Agreed.
If we were to break down the film, we could probably pinpoint who's at fault, blah, 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 this, that, and the other, but it really doesn't matter. You got 2 grown men, 2 grown adults. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
You got two grown men, two grown adults. Hey, listen, I like to play the game every once in a while too. And you know, if people are coming at me and trying to make comments, I'll make comments back or whatever. But truth of the matter is, it shouldn't really happen during a council meeting at all. This is on the city's time. This is on the taxpayers' time. If these guys want to beef in the newspaper or beef on YouTube, Facebook, whatever they want to do, if they want to get into their little squabbles, that's one thing. Personally, I think that when it comes to Joe Camara, he's coming from a place of he has a problem with everyone grandstanding. He doesn't just call out one councilor. He's calling out other councilors for the grandstanding opportunities that they've taken. And that's fine. And I agree with the premise that we shouldn't be seeing all this grandstanding. I just don't know if in the middle of a council meeting is the platform and the stage to be, you know, be the one to call everyone out.
I think it's the best place for it.
Okay.
And the reason I think it's the best place for it is because it shows you exactly what is most important to the counselors.
It just gets distracting.
But that's the whole point.
It's just like
that's the whole point.
Just like when the council president takes time out of the meeting to address the people in the crowd.
Clapping.
Right, or whatever. Not even clapping anymore.
Mm-hmm.
They're not even clapping him. As a matter of fact, one person clapped, and it was awkward, and it made me laugh a little bit. But it was actually really funny.
So it was more distracting than
Exactly.
when everybody else was
when
applauding.
it defeats the purpose.
Right.
Well, yeah.
So what I'm saying about Joe Camara and what I'm saying about even Councilor Kadim is that when your purpose is, when your objective is to stop something, and then you become the distraction in that process,
Mm-hmm.
then it defeats the entire purpose.
Right.
And so, yes, Councilor Cabaceres grandstands. I think we can all raise our hand and agree on that, right?
Absolutely.
We can understand. We can all agree that other councilors have been, involved in some type of grandstanding or prolonging conversations longer than they need to go. Right. Taking topics way off subject where it needs to go. We've seen that very, very frequently, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately, who does it fall down under? Who is the person who they have as their authority to try to reel it all in?
See, I can't. I know we can say it's Kadim, but
Okay.
I'm not putting that on him because you know
All right.
something.
Well, he got elected for that.
He didn't get elected.
He got elected
He
by
got elected-
his own council to do stuff like that.
Right. So we don't know what was said between them behind closed doors. We don't know what their conversations entail. And quite frankly, I think it's good that he's letting them go because again, this is the voters getting to see exactly what their counselors are doing.
But
Every one of them.
I understand. I get that though, but during the, I mean, and I have no problem with it being the time or the place or the right time or the right place. But you know, you have had City Council President Kadim on a few times, especially during, I believe it was either the Monday of the Monday meeting or was it Tuesday meeting where they actually were dealing with the administrative part of the budget, where he actually stated where he dealing with the administrative part. Let's stick to that. I mean, I applaud him for that. I mean, at least he's trying to keep some sort of an order going. Cool, but he also has he has that responsibility to keep a meeting going and not allow something to just veer off course.
They voted for him for one reason and one reason only. It had nothing to do with he's going to stop us from grandstanding.
Right.
It had nothing to do with that at all. You know what they wanted? They wanted somebody to go after who they perceived as the recallers.
Yes.
Can
Which,
we
by
all
the way,
agree on this?
Which yes, and
All
I would like for any of those, because I've heard it out of quite a few counselors' mouths, Ray Mitchell especially on
his
the
own
radio.
show.
Define recaller, please. Define recaller for me. That's all I want them to do. Just define it so we know when they say it's the recallers, or define who that is or what that is.
I'm gonna take a step further and assume that they're talking about people who do a lot of posting on social media. I think that's where it's all stemming
Well, then they
from.
should be saying, don't listen to the people who post a lot on social media, not the recallers.
The way I see it is the way you see it, right?
Right.
Because putting that quote recaller on that label on anybody is anybody who voted against Will Flanagan in a recall election. So
That's
technically,
it.
Ray Mitchell's a recaller too.
Right.
You know what I mean? I believe other councilors signed the petition
Mhm.
and recalled William Flanagan, Mr. hanging out with 50 Cent now. So Yeah, did you guys see that
Yeah.
picture of Will Flanagan hanging out with 50 Cent?
Okay,
actually thought that was
I have
another
to
picture.
say this, and because I
Two
watch
ex-convicts? No, I'm just
and
joking.
because I watch
Just
Bravo,
joking.
I watch the station Bravo.
Mhm.
There's a show called Watch What Happens Live that comes on at 11 p.m. And they had Vivica Fox on
Oh, she
last
hates
year.
50 Cent.
Well, she had a few interesting things to say about Mr. 50 Cent.
Oh, I think I know what road you're going down.
Um,
Oh, this and Bravo. The
And
channel was Bravo.
Bravo.
Yeah. All right.
So,
I'm gonna let Nikki. The views and opinions of Nikki Medeiros do not personally reflect
Okay,
anything that
well,
I'm thinking.
and listen, again, this isn't my views and opinions. This is what was said by Vivica A. Fox on Watch What Happens Live. She said that 50 Cent was gay, which I thought was interesting. But that was a whole other thing. Just because you said it, it reminded me of when Vivica Fox was on Bravo.
So I feel as though I'm going right back into it. I feel as though Sean Kadim was chosen by some, if not all, whoever voted for him to be the council president, to restore order. And I'm using quotation marks here. Restore the order back into the council chambers, which, in my opinion, translates to stop those recallers from, making the circus of this, that, and the other. What we're realizing, though, and what I knew from day one, way before Sean Kadim was ever city council president, was that the circus was never about Jordan Sylvia doing a citizens input. The circus was never about Josh Silva or myself or Dan Robillard or whoever doing a citizens input and calling people out. It was never about that at all. The circus was always about what the councilors are doing, whether they're right or wrong. And again, Joe Camara, he's not wrong in pointing out the grandstanding issues that's going on in the council chambers at all. Problem is, I think that once it goes too far, it gets just as distracting as anything else.
Well, I think we've always had a certain level of grandstanding in the past
Always.
that we've been trying to argue against.
Always.
This year, however, it seems two new counselors kind of added to it, and they added to it much, much more than what was already there. Like, so now we're blatantly seeing it. Like, I didn't catch the last meeting, but I did catch a blurb of the exchange between Rich Cabaceres and Joe Camara. I didn't get to hear Joe Camara's side, but I heard Rich Cabaceres say something about Joe's cell phone
yeah. So
and speech to text.
So what happened is that I guess Rich was in the midst of whatever he was doing, and then he stopped what he was doing to point out that the counselor on, quote unquote, the counselor on his left, his cell phone is distracting. At that point, Joe came back and said, "I'm sorry, my volume was up. I didn't mean for my text to speech thing to come on," and that was the end of it. And I'm like, but here's the thing: we didn't hear any of that.
Mm-hmm.
You're listening to. Yeah, I'm holding up my hand like a phone right now. You're listening to the meeting in real time. You don't hear the phone. You hear someone saying something about the phone. And that also goes to Kadim. You don't hear the people in the background. You hear Kadim telling the people in the background to be quiet. So at what point you understand one action's causing the other, but which one's the bigger distraction? Right. So that is, we have to start realizing what is going to be a bigger problem when it's, is it what's happening or when someone says it's happening? You can have easily just forgotten about it, moved on, gone on, done. But now we have a problem where now we're pointing it out. We're spending minutes. Minutes talking about what just happened, and it's just getting to be pathetic. I'm sorry. This needs to stop, especially now when all of these minutes are important because we're getting closer and closer to July 1st. Well,
and the thing is, to bring that up, like, that to me is petty. And I'll say that it's petty. It's just petty to even bring it up, and it was disrespectful because unless he was talking, was he like talking to his phone?
No.
Was Joe talking to his phone?
It was just an accident. It picked up his voice and the volume was up.
So it's kind of like the "Hey Siri" thing. Like if you say "Hey Siri,"
Absolutely.
sometimes she'll say, "Hey, how can I help you?"
Absolutely.
All right.
It was
So
that.
I thought, like, I didn't get to see the whole exchange, so I can't really comment on it. But when I saw Rich's complaint, it confused me because we have counselors who get out of their seats, counselors who are chit-chatting during the meeting, and nothing is ever said about that. So for something to all of a sudden, it's like they have a personal beef that's obvious. So either they should just duke it out or have respect enough to
Pick a different platform to do it on.
Yeah.
Don't do it on the taxpayer's dime.
Well, it just
At a
if
time.
is that person, like, is Joe Camara that important to Rich that he's going to comment on it?
I think he is.
Like, so, and
Yeah.
then that's how I look at it. I look
Right.
at it like, what about Joe is so threatening to Rich that he really has to go that deep about?
We
The
break it
self-
down. We break down. Rich Cabaceres is a first-year city councilor. He's ambitious. He's a union. He supports the union and pretty much at all costs. And he also has an ego. He also wants to make sure that he's heard. He's his opinion is valued by everyone in the room. Like, he really that means something to him. Well, here's Joe Camara. Been doing this for 20 years. He's seen them all come and go.
Mhm.
He's, in my opinion, and I think in the opinion of many people, he's a respectable city councilor. He knows a lot of knowledge on topics, but he'll also call people out. He's done it many times to other councilors. So he's sitting right on the side of him. So there's just personality clashes right there.
Yeah, it's like,
You
where
know?
where did the tension come from?
I'm just saying, right on the surface, right there, there's gonna be two clashing people. Not to mention, one has a very different opinion of what to do in this city and how the city should be run to the other.
Mhm.
They don't agree fundamentally on specific topics. So they're already at odds.
I
right
mean, and
before
make
they
no
even walk in
mistake,
the
I
door.
don't like the way that Joe responds to
Of course
Rich
not.
either.
It just goes a little too far.
Yeah,
Right.
I don't like either one. Like, when I look at it, and I've always been a fan of Joe's, but when I look at him, it's like, come on,
Yeah.
you're that little those little comments shouldn't be enough for you to get out of character, or like, I just don't.
Joe Camara did a great job at one of the meetings. I think it was the actual ordinance meeting. He did a great job of not just calling them out, and he didn't call anyone out in a snarky, sarcastic way. He did it in a way that was productive. And then Sean Kadim responded in a very snarky, with attitude, almost.
Well, that's his personality for sure. I think.
So how it went down in that committee was, Joe asked, why is there so much confusion on the budget
Mhm.
by the same counselors who had me vote? He's like, I voted yes to formulate this committee, this budget preparation
Mhm.
and audits committee, right? How productive was this meeting? Why is everyone still confused about the budget? How many meetings have you had, and what did you do in these meetings? And they had one meeting, and the only thing that was really productive about it was they had a really, extended citizens input where they had the teachers and the kids come up and talk about, we need money for the budget.
Yep.
We need money for the budget. But when they actually started talking about the actual process in the budget, and Kathy Viveris was there, they had every opportunity to ask all these different questions. What ended up being the result, the big grand result of
I don't
this,
remember that meeting.
was they kept on bringing up the sanitation fee.
Yeah.
The sanitation fee became the topic of discussion.
Which
It became the quote, like, almost solution.
That
And Sean Kadim has not really brought up a different type of topic since that meeting. He's continually brought up that topic of, we're leaving $3.7 million in revenue on the table. We're leaving, that's all he's been consistently talking about, which has brought up the other discussion
Mhm.
of whether or not the city would be within their rights to keep a sanitation fee,
Mhm.
even though it's not even going to be utilized for sanitation.
Mhm.
Or directly utilized for sanitation. It'd be utilized for, as Sean, and we've played the video many times already now, where Sean expressed it could be used to keep drugs off the street by paying for police vice,
Yep.
Schools, and fire.
Mhm.
He's made that comment many times.
You know what I think is crazy is, here we are with a few new city councilors, right? And we're still having the same discussions that we've had
Right.
over and over, year after year, and it still revolves around trash.
So can I like summarize all this in saying that we're still kicking the can down the road
Of course.
Absolutely,
and
100%.
not recycling it?
I'm gonna correct it a little bit though, because your current mayor is actually trying to move into a different topic, right?
I
Your
agree.
current mayor is actually trying to move on and get away from the topic.
Yeah,
of
I'm just
sanitation,
talking
right?
city council.
But
I
your
agree.
city councilors, not all of them, by the way, because I think that there are some city councilors asking valid questions, trying to actually
Mhm.
have a real discussion about the budget. And that's Councilor LeBeau, Councilor, that's nice. Sorry. Councilor LeBeau, Councilor Ponte, Councilor Long, Councilor, even though we're bringing his name up, Councilor Camara, they've had real questions about the budget.
Mhm.
Now, not necessarily questions that, in my opinion, are going to be like the deal breaker of whether or not to pass it. I don't think that the $7,000 of travel time, of travel expenses that Cliff Ponte was asking about is going to be the make or break of whether or not he's going to vote for the entire budget. If he's willing to go to a 112 budget over $7,000 of travel time, I'm not sure if that's where he's coming from on it. But I had a one-to-one face-to-face conversation on Friday with Ray Mitchell. Okay. Ray Mitchell, I just ran into him while I was running into to get a haircut, and I ran into him in the parking lot, and we talked. And I can talk in a civilized manner with Ray Mitchell when I see him. Same as you, right?
Mhm.
You've had the same thing, Nikki.
Mhm.
And I asked him, I said, "What the hell are you guys doing? What is going on? What is the problem? Seriously, Ray, what is going on?" He's like, "Well, I'll tell you." That's exactly how he starts off sentences. "Well, I'll tell you." And he proceeded to let me know that, and there was actually some DCM workers in front of us at the time of the conversation. He said he's willing to go, or at least he's willing to consider going into a 112 budget because of, and he gave me the exact reasons why. He said these workers are going to get laid off, and I don't like it. He said that. He said that to me.
It's the same thing he said to me last year when he didn't want to go for a 112th budget.
These guys are getting the shaft. They're getting laid off. He didn't like it. He's willing to go to a 112 budget over it. And also, the other reason is I've tried, this is Ray Mitchell saying, I've tried many times to get the information on this easy disposal contract. I had some questions and I wanted answers, and I just simply haven't gotten the answers from the administration. So those were the two reasons. So it's all centered around this sanitation topic. Now, Nikki, could you give us an insight as to the conversation you had with Ray Mitchell literally a year ago?
Well, literally a year ago, we met at Dunkin' Donuts on Pleasant Street in front of the police station, really, like right there near the police
Tears
station.
in his eyes.
As he was looking out the window, pretty much almost with tears in his eyes, because I'm a fan of a 112 budget. So if they want to vote for 112, that's cool. I'm down for it. Go ahead and vote for it.
112 was a nice R&B band back in the 90s, but I'm going to tell you this right now. I don't think it's a good idea. I actually think that we should just, not go down a 112 budget land.
Well, I was fine with it last year.
Even though I supposedly get all my opinions from you, I'm going to say this to you right now, Nikki. I think we have difference of opinion on this.
You don't say.
You don't say. But anyway, keep going.
Yes. So at any rate, I'm a fan of 112. But anyway, he was saying, I have to pass this budget. I have to pass this budget because if not, the state's going to come down and all the contracts, the police department contract, the fire department contract will all be all over and people will lose their jobs. I have to pass this budget. And I said, Ray, please don't pass this budget. I have to pass this budget. So it's just funny to me that this year he's saying he can't pass the budget, and it's supposedly for the same reason he was saying last year as why he had to pass the budget. See what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Life gets in the way, right? Is that what you're about to say, Derek?
No, I'm perfectly fine with this going to 112.
You too?
I am.
Nice, me
I'm
too.
perfectly fine. Not for the reasons Ray gave,
Right.
but
Second that.
I'm perfectly fine with a 112 budget simply because if a lot of these bogus contracts are gone, maybe the city's going to start seeing what they really need and what they really don't need. Also, every month, now every department is going to be accountable for certain amounts of money.
Including the schools, if I'm not mistaken.
Exactly. So now we're really going to see how much of that school budget is necessary, and we're going to see how much of it is really fluff.
I would like to, all these counselors that are talking right now about, being ready to go down a 112 budget process, I would like to see all the department heads come to the table and really have a conversation with the councils and let them know if they also agree that they would like to go down a 112 budget. I'm going to think they're not going to want to do that.
Well, it'll be they will have to renegotiate all the union contracts too. So
Month to month.
month to month. That's awesome.
I'm just not sure that
That's
they're willing
awesome.
to go down that road. I'm not sure that.
I don't think they're willing to go down that road neither.
No.
And I believe that all of this, I'm going to go to 112, is all fluff, as Derek said, and they're not going to do it. It's all baloney.
And then you also have to think that someone is eventually going to start calling out these guys for saying, well, last year you didn't want to go to 112 for X, Y, and Z. Now for the same reasons, you're okay with it. I'm sorry.
But look at the reasoning behind this. Your public safety is not threatened this year.
Exactly.
Your education department, even with the cuts, you're still going to have teachers in your classrooms. Okay? It was a tight budget. There's no doubt about it. It's not perfect. There's definitely no doubt about that. I'm not even saying yes to like voting for it necessarily, because I would have to be in one of those seats to really break things down more. So I'm not advocating to actually pass the budget or not. My point is we need honesty. If you're not going to pass the budget, valid reasons, not this philosophy on how you feel about privatizing and that kind of stuff.
Making it personal.
Exactly. That's the problem that I have. If you simply, like, I'm going to try to find a counselor that I feel has been on the topics, no agenda. So I don't know if you guys agree with me, but I feel as though after watching some of these videos, Counselor LeBeau was asking valid questions and not showing a bunch of biases.
I'll
You
agree
feel
with
that?
I didn't watch the
All right.
videos.
Well, I feel as though she was asking real questions and not giving us the fluff. Now, maybe she was, and maybe somebody else out there that's listening could call in and let me know, and that's fine. But I didn't see it personally, right? So she is going down this road. If she says, I just can't vote for this budget, I would know for a fact that it was based on, at least from what she was talking about, it was based on these specific topics that she just wasn't feeling and she felt needed to be improved upon. Fine. Steve Camara, whole different angle. Could he also vote no on this budget?
Oh, yeah, because I would see him voting no already without even looking at the budget. I could see him voting no.
And that's what I'm talking about. And now that's a whole different angle.
Right.
Because now you're talking about somebody who clearly has stated publicly out loud he won't shop at Market Basket because they're not a union. He said that.
Yeah, he did.
So he's already, and I don't know why he would even say that in a council meeting, but he did. And that obviously is a show to the unions that he's going to support them at all times. He didn't even hesitate. He said, I don't agree with the privatization. He brought up the landfill as an example. He doesn't believe. For my friend David Folger, I don't think he listens to us, but he's a big staunch libertarian, Facebook libertarian guy. He has continually tried to correct everybody. I know, David, you're not listening to me right now, but I know that it's not real privatization. I get it, buddy. I know. They're just calling it privatization.
Yes.
But it's not real privatization.
It's just a change in who's bringing our trash from the curb.
It's a
to the airport
contracting.
road.
It's a contracting is what it is.
Yep.
It's a contracting. It's not real privatization. So the Herald News calls it privatization. I know that maybe in sentences I may have used the word privatized.
Yeah, we all have.
Whatever it is. But it's really a contracting out. That's really what it is. And outside of all that, real true privatization is if Derek, myself, and you all pay separately for what we want to do with our trash. That's real true privatization.
And Fall River
and
says, sorry guys,
right,
we're all done.
Take in the city of Fall River completely.
Which, by the way, they could do that too. Still,
of course. And the city of Fall River can just completely walk away and say, we're not providing this service anymore. You're responsible for your own trash. That's really true privatization. And there's a lot of people that would be against it.
Oh, there's a hell of a lot of people.
Because I think they like to have the socializing process of their
Look at how many years trash has been at the forefront of every freaking budget.
There you go.
So you see it, and it's like, if that were to go away, because how easy would it be for them to say, we're not doing it anymore.
You're not responsible for it.
Right. I mean, the Board of Health still would come in and write tickets if things
Absolutely.
were out of control. So it's not like they wouldn't have that.
So if anyone really wants to have the right language or the right actual, vocabulary about this, it's contracting, not privatizing. So the contracting of this service is the big problem for a couple of these counselors. They're willing, Ray Mitchell, Steve Camara, I'm going to go along with also Linda Pereira. They have a philosophical, and I'm going to assume Cabaceres as well.
Yes.
They have a philosophical issue with the contracting process of taking our trash from our homes to the landfill of Republic. Now, speaking of Republic, speaking of Linda Pereira, I believe she was on the cover of the Herald News last week, holding papers from Republic saying that there was not a real true process of vetting out the businesses as to what contract we can negotiate with. And she felt as though Republic got shafted and she had these papers in her hand. My problem there, the only problem I have is Linda Pereira a lawyer?
Well, yeah, I was just going to ask, what was she doing speaking up for Republic? Republic could take care of their own. Like that's a city councilor,
right,
who is sticking up for a private company,
right,
in regards to a public contract.
Exactly. I wasn't getting that part.
Yeah,
I said if Republic had a real legit beef,
they would have been on the.
Shouldn't their lawyers?
Yeah.
Be doing the talking for them?
They should be on the cover of the.
I was not, and I'm being legit on this. I didn't get it. I was lost when I saw Linda Pereira talking for them because I was like, where's the legal ramifications for this?
I mean, for me, listening to all of that going down, there was only one thing that went through my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Only one, and if someone else can prove me wrong, then fine. Why would you stick up for a company like that if you did not have a vested interest in them succeeding?
Oh, I don't think she has a vested interest in themselves succeeding. I think it's anything just to bring down
the current process,
the process from now, and to keep those city employees working. That's all that is.
I just have a very big feeling that she has some sort of a personal interest with Ally.
Because if she had a personal interest, she might have come forward the last time that contract was written up. And she was very against Flanagan about things when it came to trash.
The counselors with experience, your Ray Mitchells, your Linda Pereiras, your Joe Camaras, the ones that have been doing this for a very long time. They're very talented at public perception. Mm-hmm. They're very, very talented at making you perceive it's something that they want you to perceive it as.
Mm-hmm.
A picture of Linda Pereira on the front page of the Herald with Republic's paperwork in her hand is just an image that will stick with you, even if you're not detailed on all the entire process of what's going on. So you can just say, wow. And all the ultimate message is, Jazel, this kid doesn't know what he's doing.
Right.
That's all you have to do.
What is this kid doing?
Mission accomplished if that's all you got out of that. Because it's not about the details. Everyone out there should know that if Republic had a real problem, there would be a legal process going on. And if they're within their rights to do so, then by all means.
Yep.
But having a city councilor up there doing this, it's probably grandstanding on a level that I've personally never seen yet. I haven't seen that level of grandstanding. It's pretty impressive, to be honest with you. Yeah. It really is. I was like, wow, this is amazing. As a citizen watching this that knows what's going on, I'm like, wow, that is amazing that she was able to pull that off. And people have eaten it up like it's
and I'm looking at it and I'm like, what the hell is she doing?
Yeah.
Like that's because now, right? Yeah. Does that open the door for easy disposal if they now have an issue with a contract? Does that open the door for them to come in and say, here we have a city councilor who is throwing a monkey wrench into their contract?
Yep.
Here she is supporting another private company.
I was impressed.
You know,
That's all I can say. I
what's
was like, wow,
so
this is
you got to be
crazy.
careful with that. We talk about lawsuits a lot, but they always seem to keep making funky decisions when it comes to things.
So, go ahead, Derek. I know you had
I was
something.
also gonna take a little bit of time to talk about the interaction between Councilor Ponte and the administration where exactly that's all I could think of
Every time.
when he was talking about, well, if the city's brought back to the bargaining table with the union, what is this going to do with the contract and this? I'm like, dude, I'm not an idiot. I'm really not an idiot here. And well, maybe I might be, but whatever. But
It depends on the topic of conversation.
Yeah.
sure. But let's look at it this way. Everyone heard what I heard. So if I'm wrong, please tell me I'm wrong. If the city of Fall River decides to walk out on that contract for no reason whatsoever other than just saying, nah, I don't want it anymore, they have to pay the fee. If the city of Fall River has to terminate the contract because of the union bringing them back to the table and something else, and there's some weird agreement that happens, because of the outside influence of whatever, that termination fee is not in play. Am I wrong on this?
Macy, and I wrote down Macy on my little notes here because I was going to bring that up, and I'm glad you did because it's a perfect transition. We talked about this on the last time we did a show about how we feel during the school committee meetings that even though Joe Martins may have had a valid point, he kept it going even after he had all the information given to him.
Right.
And it just kind of prolonged the discussion because everyone's mind was already made up, but he was still hammering it down, trying to hammer his point down even after it was all said and done.
Right.
So that was what was going on a smaller scale between Cliff Ponte and Macy. So, and I always want to say William Macy. His name is not William Macy. William Macy is an actor on HBO, Shameless. Okay? Joe Macy, however.
William H. Macy.
Yes. The other Macy is our corporation counsel, and I got to give him credit. He's doing a pretty good job. So,
I will.
so Mr. Macy and Mr. Ponte were having a discussion about the contract possibly being down the road, possibly, being terminated, and the city being stuck with some type of termination fee that we wouldn't be able to pay for. He said, and Ponte's position wasn't just that, but also, well, what if we lose this deliberation between the union and the administration? Are they going to have to be brought back to the table because out of good faith, we are going to have to renegotiate? Macy reaffirmed that none of this is going to actually go down that the way you think it is. Number one, we determine whether or not we want to terminate the contract. If Easy Disposal walks away, or if Easy Disposal has a bankruptcy, or if Easy Disposal in any way, shape, or form doesn't perform to the level that they're expected to, we do not pay a fee when they go into a different direction.
I thought actually they paid us. I could be wrong on that.
I'm not.
That's what I thought I heard.
That's going further than the information I have,
Okay.
but maybe you're right. I'm not sure, Derek. But I just know what I was listening to that day.
Oh.
What's up?
Nothing.
What?
Are we still laughing about that thing?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So these guys, just to my listeners, when we do the show, sometimes they communicate non-verbally, and I get distracted, and it's hilarious, But at any rate, I'm trying to maintain here so I can keep the message going. Derek just laughed so hard. He looked at his phone and laughed so hard he walked away. But anyway, I'm going to get back to this. I really am. So Macy explained to Cliff Ponte on several different angles that it's not going to happen. I just got to see the picture, and I'm going to try to talk through this without laughing as well. Man, you got me on that one, Nikki. Damn, you got me on that one. So Macy tried very, very hard to get the message across that no matter what happens, if the city doesn't cancel this contract, we're not going to have to pay a termination fee. It still didn't register, though. You had other counselors after the interaction between Ponte and Macy step in, say, I know that Macy is confident, but I'm not confident. So no matter what you say, no matter what facts you bring to the table, Macy, for last year when he was hired by Sam Sutter, was his word was unquestionable last year by the same people who are questioning it now. So it really matters what it comes down to is what is the agenda between the people that are having these discussions, right? Last year, when Sam Sutter hired Macy, right? Mm-hmm. Linda Pereira, Ray Mitchell, a couple other people, they're not there anymore. Oh, your word,
Oh, yes.
right?
Oh,
your
yes.
word, your reputation.
Judge Macy.
Judge Macy,
That's
this.
what they call him,
right.
Judge.
So he goes up there now and he tells these counselors, some of these counselors, look, your worries about this contract are that there's nothing there. It's not going to happen. And then now the same people.
They don't believe him now.
Now they don't believe him.
Now he's a liar.
Oh, I respect your opinion, but so no matter what is going on, you have to keep your eyes wide open. Last 2 years ago, when William Flanagan was like the bad guy of the city, and everyone wanted to recall him, 10,000 people were ready to recall him, your counselors were all about it. All the counselors were all on board with it. They were, what is this purple bag stuff? What are we doing here? Then when Sam Sutter became the mayor, it was, oh, we like the purple bags. It's not that bad. Hey, this purple bag's down in Fort Lauderdale. What are you talking about? Right?
Like the purple
Even though they're.
And how about we tack on a fee?
Yeah, there's a fee and a bag down in Fort Lauderdale. We need to do that too. No, there isn't. And no, there wasn't. But at any rate, now it just depends on what the agenda is. What really bothers me though, what really sticks at me is the people keep on swaying with them. I listen to WSAR. And not just WSAR, I've listened to people having conversations. The same people that were against things 2 years ago are now for it. We had one of the guys go up there during citizen input. Oh yeah, go to 112 budget. Go ahead. No problem. Last year, they didn't want that.
Of course.
They did not want that last year.
Last year, they had us all shaking in our boots, remember?
Yes.
We cannot do it. We just can't do it. We can't go to a 112 budget. We have to pass it.
We had two former counselors, Counselor Casey and Leo. You can't just say Counselor Peltier. You have to say Leo. Yeah, those two guys, along with Ray Mitchell, saying that going to 112 was disastrous. And that was
catastrophic.
Catastrophic. Thank you. I was trying to think of the exact word. For budgets that had, like you said, the bags were added to it. Then the following year, the $10 per month trash fee was added to it. Now
per unit.
Now you have a budget that I believe is roughly $7 to $8 million less than what it was last year, which now takes into consideration, even if we're not making the 3.7, that means we still had a savings of about $4-ish million. Mm-hmm. And that's still not good enough for nine people on the council because it affects 24 workers and to hell with the rest of the 88,000 other citizens in Florida.
Right.
Can someone please really look at the math here? And I'm not looking at math as like you have to be a financial guru, but thank you. But look at who you're dealing with.
You were so delayed there for a moment.
He was trying to
hold about it.
But look at what you're dealing with here. You're dealing with the betterment of 88,000-ish people versus 24 people who could potentially be laid off and not get reshuffled somewhere else, which we all know they're going to get shuffled somewhere else.
I just don't see how the public's not seeing this for what it's worth. I'm not understanding it. I'm just listening to phone calls come in. Oh, this kid doesn't know what he's doing. This kid's going to get us this, that, and the third. All right, fine. Fine. I'm still not hearing or I'm still not seeing what figures are coming from the other side to say.
Still didn't answer that yet?
No.
You've got to be kidding.
No. So we're still not seeing it. Listen, I am all ears.
Is he saving it for 2017?
I am all ears. And my eyes are wide open. I want to see the other side of the argument. I can see clearly now the rain is gone is being sung by Derek right now. Let's be real, and yeah, Nikki's dancing. But let's really be like truthful about this. people like such as Councilor Cabaceres and other people too, by the way, have come out and said it's going to be more expensive to contract out. Okay, that's perfectly fine. Show the figures, please. Show the figures. Let's break it down. Bring it up to the council. Let's see the council bring these numbers to the administration so they can have a discussion about this. Please.
I think we should just all bring our own trash to the dump.
Just
Let's take out hauling altogether.
true
And let's just bring
privatizing?
our own. Yeah, let's just bring our own.
All right.
No, like let's bring it to the dump. Like we don't even have to go.
Well, see, I don't have a truck to bring my trash over, so maybe I have to pay.
But all you
for a
just
service to
recycle
do so.
everything. You recycle everything.
I do.
So see,
It's true. It's just to me, no, let's be real though, seriously. All this conversation about it's going to be more expensive to contract with easy disposal. Let's see the other numbers. Let's bring it to the table and see and have a real discussion about it. I haven't seen Kathy Ann Viveris at all. Not one time have I seen her sit with another person who's claiming it's going to be more expensive. Show the numbers to them and have a discussion about it. Have you seen that? They have meetings on a weekly basis, right? They're going to have their third one in a row on Tuesday. When are we going to see the other side actually show that it's more expensive to contract out? When is it happening? Right?
Yeah.
When we actually see that happen, then we can finally start talking as if we have facts on our side. But it's all speculation until then. Now, I had another person text me on my Facebook wall, telling me that there's danger as far as they may lose certification.
The tax rate.
Yep, the tax rate certification, right? So now Jazel Correa had an obligation to pay a certain percentage of healthcare costs to the city workers. And with this new deal, with this new deal that they've done, they're actually being underfunded in their healthcare costs. That's what somebody was explaining to me. And I said, fine. You can go, anyone who's friends with me on Facebook can go on my wall. It's still there. The person who was having a conversation with me was CJ Ferry, who has a show, Spindle City Straight Talk. Sorry. That's actually really a funny face. It is what it is, but I told him the same thing I'm saying right now. I don't care if you show me the figures. You show me the figures all you want. Bring it to the council floor. Have a city councilor backing your position on this, and let's have an administration discussion about these numbers, about these possibilities. Let's have it rather than just voting on speculation. You're expecting these city councils to vote no and go into a 112 budget based on speculation. Have a real discussion. Have a real talk about it.
I'm having way too much fun.
Is anyone really willing to do that? Is anyone really willing to do that? Did we come to do a podcast? I mean, we can shut it off and play if you want. You guys want to shut off the podcast?
I was just having a little bit of fun.
All right.
I'm sorry.
All right.
I was still listening.
No, but I'm asking a question. Like, do you feel as though there's really anyone out there, any of those 9 councilors, are they willing to have a real discussion with real figures to show one is more expensive than the other? Or is this
They can't.
Why not?
Because we don't know that, because we've never truly contracted out our hauling.
I just want to know why then do they keep on coming out and saying it's going to be more expensive?
Why do birds fall in love? Who knows?
Crazy. So what other topics of discussion was on the budget that you happened to see? Because really, this seems to me as though this whole thing is made
trash.
Right. The whole thing is make or break on sanitation, even though your services will still be provided if you pass the budget.
Mm-hmm.
So last year there was threats that you will not have level services for public safety. You were going to get severe cuts to public safety last year, supposedly, if they didn't instill this sanitation fee. Okay, so they passed the budget. They passed that budget. You got the fee. Come to find out, when the new mayor came in, you didn't need the fee. You still got all your other services.
And you saved money from the budget from last year.
Right. So I want to know now, besides the sanitation piece, because everybody that's been arguing against it has just been jumping on a sanitation piece.
Oh yeah.
What other factors in this budget would make you say no? Would make you want to go to a 112 budget? Your reasoning, both of your reasonings to go to a 112 budget have nothing to do with this budget being a bad budget.
No,
and everything
no,
to do,
no, yeah.
and everything to do with wanting to just break things down,
break
month to
everything
month.
down and go back to zero,
And
to
go
a
right.
restart. We always say we want a restart. You
It's
know,
like the
Fall
next
River
thing
could
to
only
avoid.
get a restart.
Right.
So
But-
right there would be like,
But you have counselors that are willing to go to a 112 budget based on acting as though this budget.
are
is a
they or
bad
are they
budget.
just saying they're willing to go to a
whatever,
112?
whatever it is, considering going to
Because
a 112
we
budget.
have these moments when they're voting.
Dramatic zoom in.
Yes.
That just did not.
So when we have those moments, like that's
Yes,
kind
you've
of-
tuned into City Talk Fall River, a podcast on Fall River topics.
we are.
If you feel as though you've turned the page into something else, that did not happen.
Just hit refresh, it'll come back.
It will come back. Whatever in the world Nikki just did just now.
I was acting.
You were definitely
I was acting. It was if I was a sitting city councilor.
Oh boy, that was excellent.
Cigarettes.
So you need
Is it 'cause
you
I'm
need a
dressed-
cigarette after that one,
Is
Derek?
it
Is
because
that
I'm
right?
dressed up nice? Is that what it is today?
Two-
Is
two-
that
2.5 years of not smoking. I'm over break right now just because of that. No, I'm kidding.
Wow. So
Wow.
wow. I'm taking a sip of my soda.
I didn't see it as what you guys saw it as. So.
Heard it. I heard it. I heard the whole thing.
We were there.
You're you know what's funny is I'm really trying to have a real discussion on this budget. It's just not happening right now.
Not right now. Take a deep breath.
Wow. Crazy.
Take a deep breath.
Crazy.
Can we talk about $7,000 for a minute?
You want to talk about? Well, you know, I was gonna mention overall the one of the other pieces to this, one of the other critiques to this budget, though, is there's supposedly a 30% increase in the spending piece of the mayor's office,
Right.
and one of those, like you mentioned, was the $7,000 for the travel expense.
I'm perfectly fine with there being a question about it. Oh my God, we're still on this? I'm perfectly fine with it being a discussion on this right now. Because I think $7,000 is, I would say $7,000 is a little much. I'm perfectly fine. I can't do this right now. I'm perfectly fine with it being something a little less than what it is now. $4,000, probably no one would have questioned it. $3,500, even if you cut it in half, no one would have questioned it. They referenced the mayor of New Bedford on how he has his little travel. He has his travel budget set at, and I don't remember the number, maybe $3,000. I think it was.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Cliff Ponte brought up a great point.
Yes.
That the mayor of New Bedford spends about $2,500 on his, about $2,500 on his travel expense. But he also mentioned that the mayor of New Bedford, also his name is John Mitchell, has also been involved in some intricate, groups. So for $2,500 to be enough for him, that seems fine. So for Jazel Correa to want $7,000, I actually do think that they'll need to actually come down and explain at least why it's that high.
I would like to have an explanation.
I think Cliff had a valid point there about it, and I think that deserves an explanation as to why you want $7,000. Is it a make or break thing for me? No, but I want to know exactly what it is and approve of it, or disapprove, I should say. So it is what it is. You good over your money?
I'm fine.
What do you feel about $7,000 of travel expenses?
Depends on if he's going. I don't know. Like it depends, because like I said at first, I'm like, where is he going to travel? That's going to be $7,000.
Right.
So I guess if it's something that can be proven ahead of time, I just don't think it should be a what if kind of fund. Like things, most meetings or things at that level are planned way in advance.
Absolutely.
So that's something that we should already, there should be a detailed list. So if that was already written down and we could see where that money was going, then it wouldn't be a big deal. But just to say $7,000, is it make or break? No, because all they have to say is take that $7,000 out.
there was discussion.
Well, we can discuss that later, you know.
There was discussion also on this concept of a living, breathing document, not a concrete document. Right?
That is the most pathetic thing I've ever. It's not a living breathe. It's a freaking piece of paper. You want to vote for it, you vote for it. You want to change it, you change it. It's not
right.
living. I mean, dude, people have made adjustments to it already.
Well, that's what I think. Well, Derek, that's the thing. Sahadi's position was it is technically not concrete set in stone because there's going to be opportunities along the way for things to be utilized, for ordinances to be changed, things like that. So that's why it was described as a, quote, living, breathing document. I actually think that it was Joe Camara that used that term as well in discussion. But
she brought up ordinances as far as the budget goes.
Well, because some salaries that that are in the budget are under ordinance and they need to be adjusted. But what was pointed out too by some of the people in administration was that these budget changes to ordinances have all been for decreases. There's nothing in there that's an increase to an ordinance budget or to a salary in ordinance. So that was one of the other pieces to this. That was an interesting discussion for me personally. The other piece to this was the $20,000 that was kind of pushed to the side, designated just for general expenses on any kind of tourism. The hope is still alive for tourism to be a booming opportunity in Fall River. The hope is still there by some.
Is that why they blocked off the project down the waterfront again?
So you're killing me, Nikki.
I'm really. That's a valid question
I know.
because originally it was not supposed to be built up like that. It was supposed to be a level boulevard and like that. All of a sudden you drive by and it's more blocked off than it was before. I'm like, where is the project? Oh, I get it. You can't have a beautiful restaurant with a big bay window that looks at the project.
Probably not.
You got to have it just at the waterfront. So are we still not going to be able to access our waterfront?
Not sure. So anyway, $20,000 was pushed aside. And Jazel's reasoning, and it is what it is here, Jazel has said in the past, $100,000 salaries have been put into tourism and put into the line item. And no one's ever really fulfilled it. It hasn't gone anywhere. So all he wants to do is go with 20. He wants to not negotiate, but maybe have discussions with AHA, which is the Dave Dennis group that does. They have a really booming one in New Bedford. Obviously, New Bedford's been thriving a little better than Fall River has with its tourism. AHA has been a part of that group, but Dave Dennis now is a part of the AHA group in Fall River, and they've been trying and making that effort. So, the $20,000 was explained. It seems as though it sounds like it's okay, but I'd like to, if I was there, I'd probably ask him a little bit more questions.
Well, I think, myself too. We can chuckle at the tourism thing, and even I do, but there are a lot of, we forget that we're in one of the original places. We have a lot of Native Americans history here. So I think with the reservation and the tours that they have, I think they could amp those things up.
Okay.
There are a lot of, even Lizzie Borden, as much as everybody laughs, it's already been our history for so long. We can't just squash that now.
Right.
However, but I think they should play that up.
Yeah.
They just had the movies with Lizzie Borden in the show. Right. And even on Dance Moms, the show Dance Moms, one of the kids did a dance to Lizzie Borden. She was dressed as Lizzie Borden. So I don't think we utilize that enough at all.
I'll tell you something. I sound like Ray Mitchell. I'll tell you something. I was getting some wings at St. James. St. James, by the way, has some excellent wings.
Yes, they do.
I got the Carlos Murphy's. Excellent. On my way up, you have to walk up a flight of steps to get to the doorway. Somebody else was ahead of me. And I made a joke. I said, this is a workout, because we were running up the stairs at the same time. And we kind of laughed. And then somewhere along the way, we had a discussion. She was not from this area. She come to find out she was on a honeymoon. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. Like, why would your honeymoon bring you to Fall River? And she said that she's been to different parts of the country because they're doing a haunted house tour.
Yes.
For their honeymoon. And so as soon as she said, I was like, Lizzie Borden. She was like, absolutely. So I was like, that's awesome. So there is still an attraction.
There is the paranormal and the bed and breakfast.
Yep.
It's like there are so many ways that they could utilize that.
Yep.
I mean, and let's play on it. They really don't. To say that there are kids all across the country who can sing the Lizzie Borden song, right?
Took an
This
action.
is where that stuff originated.
Yeah.
Not that it's the great thing, but if they're going to make a movie about it, Christina Ricci, why didn't anybody reach out to Christina Ricci and say, hey, you know, you want to take a picture at the bed and breakfast? You
Right.
want to come and, you know,
Yeah.
let's do some stuff.
Autograph
That right
signing
there,
or anything like that.
that
Yeah.
right there
Yep.
could have just, so I think a tourism director, if that's the direction they're going to go in, that would be great.
And
If
also,
they're going to pull out the history of
Right.
our city, it's
if
amazing.
their mayor, if the mayor of this city has the access to get out there and make those connections, then that could justify the travel expenses as well. But he's really going to have to make a case, because $7,000, even though on the grand scale of the entire $250-something budget is not that big, it's still something that I think needs explanation.
Mhm.
Bottom line, just out of principle, anyway. But watching this whole entire budget process, watching this entire thing go, I think we're gonna cut this podcast short too. But I just want to kind of get. I have a special song I want to play.
okay.
I decided to break the
All right.
our
Yes.
little bit of rules here. We're gonna play
I
a
love
song. It's based on another artist passing away that just breaks my heart. But it is what it is. So, real quick though, as far as this budget process goes, I feel personally that over the past 2 years, when Flanagan's budget, with Sutter's budget, really go back and listen to the words from your city councilors, the longtime city councilors, your Lindas, your Rays, all these guys, where their positions were back then and where their positions are today.
And even listen to Jazel's position back then and to his position now. Very similar.
So you mean that Jazel stayed consistent while...
If you go back and you look at the things that he talked about
Yep.
last year during the budget,
Yep.
and this year, you will see.
As a matter of fact, next week, we both... No, you're not going to be here,
I
right?
can't be here next week, but then
All right.
that's the last of my tournament, so we're good.
I'm good.
Nikki is going to be here with me next week. What I plan on doing, and I'm going to do this, I'm going to break down some old film, some old comments from Ray Mitchell, from Linda Pereira, about the detrimental possibilities of going to a 112 budget.
Mhm.
And then I want to see where we're going with this time around. Because Ray was very comfortable with me telling me, oh, well, if we go to a 112 budget now, everything will be
Did
fine.
you remember to tell him everything I said to you?
Huh? Oh gosh, Nikki, goodness gracious! But no, I want people to understand the really the turmoil that we were going through for 2 years during budget season.
Mhm.
It wasn't coming. It's not coming right now from the mayor's office. It's coming from the city council now.
Mm-hmm.
It's not coming from every city councilor, just a few. And it's really broken down on one topic instead of looking at the entire topic.
Exactly.
Your public safety, your fire department, your police department, your education, even with the cuts, they're all going to be able to move forward. Net school spending is going to be met. Like, what, you know what I mean? So what are we doing right now? We're contracting out the hauling of trash from your home to the transfer station. That is the big topic of discussion right now. The men who are going to be laid off or got the pink slips, you've said it, Nikki. They're going to find jobs, right?
Of course.
They already.
Of course. Well, I either read an article in the Herald News or somebody
Right.
had said it in passing. I've been reading quite a few things that they were offered jobs already.
Right.
Out toward the Boston area, making more money than they were making for the city. And then, of course, they will be filling other positions in the city that were open.
So
Remember
the
how
concern-
many vacant positions
Right.
they had in other departments.
So the concern of the men not having work, they're going to find jobs.
Mhm.
So where now this the thing that I talked about with CJ, if that is a valid concern, then bring that to the table and let's
Exactly.
have that discussion.
Stop blaming trash
Right.
for.
But
other things.
what I'm failing to see is this overwhelming threat to your safety if this budget is passed or not passed. This is the first time in about 3 to 4 years that your public safety is not threatened during budget season. It's pretty amazing, actually. So
Right.
let's see real discussion. very, very unfortunate that we had, even on our show, we had to spend a lot of time talking about the distracting things that are going on in these budget meetings. Very, very sad situation. So anyway, we're gonna do it. We did an hour today. Nikki's got a party to go to. I don't want to hold up everybody's time. We did an hour today. Derek,
Yo,
tell us what the latest celebrity heartbreaking death going on here, because
God, better not cry.
I mean, I'm just sad by it. to be honest with you. This is not good.
No, this is actually going back to, this is when I thought music was really great. Does the name Prince B sound something to you?
No.
Prince B from PM Dawn, he actually passed away. I believe, if I remember correctly, he died from, I want to say it was complications with diabetes, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember exactly what he died from, though, but he
This
died.
is like one of my mom's favorite songs, God rest her soul.
Yes, and that was definitely, when I saw that last night, I was like, wow. And of course, that was the song that they listed. That was the song that they listed along with it on TMZ, and of course, she listened to the whole thing.
Aww.
And
Very sad situation, man. Anyway, let's move on. So they sang, PM Dawn sang "Set Adrift" from Memory Bliss.
Right? Drift on Memory.
They also sang "Die Without You." That was my song. That was my song from PM Dawn. "Die Without You." They also did one on Batman. I believe it was called "Kiss." No, that was Seal. Never mind.
That was Seal.
So I'm gonna move on from this. What?
I was just say, "Kiss
Get
from a
right
Rose."
hook for that one. That's
Give me a
another
right
good
hook.
song.
Give me a right hook. It was a great song. All right. Anyway, next week we'll be breaking down. I'm going to talk about the past budget processes, the present budget process, the whole 9 yards. And we're also breaking our house rule today. I'm going to play a song that's probably copywritten, but it won't get us in trouble this
That's
week.
okay, yeah.
All right. Everybody have a great week. Have fun.
I think it's one of those deja vu things. Or a dream's trying to tell me something. Will I ever stop thinking about it? I don't know. I doubt it. Subterranean by design. I wonder what I would find if I met you. Let my eyes caress you until I meet the dog. This is Princess Who. Often wonder what makes her work. I guess I'll leave that question to the experts. Assuming that there are some out there, they're probably alone. Solitaire. I can remember when I caught up with a pastime intimate friend. She said, but you probably gonna say I look lovely, but you probably don't think nothing of me. She was right though, I can't lie. She's just one of those corners of my mind, and I'll just put it right back to the west. That's the way it goes. I give you something. This whisper from a careless man. A neutron dance for a neutron fan. Marionette strings are dangerous things. A thought of all the trouble they bring. An eye for an eye, a spy for spy. Rubber bands expand in a frustrating sigh. Tell me that she's not dreaming. She's got an ace in the hole that doesn't have meaning. Reality used to be a friend of mine. Cut complete control, I don't take too kind. Christina Applegate, you gotta put me on. Guess whose piece of the cake was that on? Just woke a wishful, wish for a sign. And told the whispers in my heart would find. What did she think she could do? I feel for her. I really do. And I stared at the ring finger on the hand. I wanted her to be a big PM Dawn fan, but I'll have to put her right back with the rest. That's the way it goes. I gotta be
Have a good day, everyone.